Do you think you make rational decisions every day? Think again. Your brain is full of hidden biases that shape your choices without you even realizing it. In today's chaotic and uncertain world, these biases can break you unless you break them first. Stay tuned to find out how. So, what are these cognitive biases we're talking about? Think of them as mental shortcuts or rules of thumb that our brains use to make decisions quickly. They're super useful when life is predictable. But in a world full of uncertainty, these shortcuts become dangerous blind spots. Let's look at a few classic examples. First, there's confirmation bias. This is our tendency to only notice information that confirms what we already believe. If you think a project is a bad idea, you'll unconsciously search for all the reasons it will fail, while ignoring evidence that it might succeed. Then there's the availability bias. This is when we judge the likelihood of something based on how easily we can recall an example. If you've just seen a news report about a plane crash, you might feel flying is more dangerous than it actually is, simply because that vivid memory is fresh in your mind. And let's not forget the anchoring bias. This happens when we get fixated on the very first piece of information we receive. If the first price you see for a car is $30,000, every other price will be judged against that initial number, even if it was totally arbitrary. Now, why are these biases so dangerous today in what we call a BANI, brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible world? Well, in brittle systems that can shatter unexpectedly, confirmation bias can blind you to hidden fragilities. You only see what you expect to see, right up until the moment everything collapses. In anxious times, the availability bias amplifies fear. Our minds are flooded with negative news and worst-case scenarios, making us believe that disaster is more likely than it is. We get stuck in a cycle of fear, making reactive, poor decisions. In a nonlinear world, where cause and effect are messy and unpredictable, biases make us misread the entire situation. We draw straight lines between events that are actually part of a complex, tangled web. This leads to solutions that don't just fail, but often make the problem even worse. And finally, in incomprehensible situations where we feel completely lost, biases create a false sense of certainty. We cling to our simple mental models because the alternative, admitting we don't know, is too uncomfortable. This false confidence is a recipe for disaster. So, how do we fight back? How do we break these biases before they break us? I've got a simple 3-step process for you. Step 1 is to name it to tame it. You can't fight an enemy you can't see. Start by learning the names of common biases. When you feel yourself leaning towards a quick judgment, pause and ask, is a bias at play here? Simply saying to yourself, wait, I might be anchoring on this initial estimate, can be enough to disrupt its power. By labeling the bias, you bring it from your unconscious mind into your conscious awareness, where you can actually deal with it. Step 2 is to actively create contradictions. Our brains love to be right, so we have to force them to consider other possibilities. If you have a strong opinion, make it a rule to actively search for 3 pieces of evidence that prove you wrong. Talk to people who disagree with you. Read articles from perspectives you normally wouldn't. This forces your brain out of its comfortable echo chamber and exposes it to alternative viewpoints, which is crucial for making balanced decisions. Step 3 is to use the power of team diversity. No single person can overcome all their biases alone. That's why surrounding yourself with people who have different backgrounds, experiences, and thinking styles is so important. They see the world through a different lens. What looks obvious to you might be a huge blind spot to them. And vice versa. Welcoming these fresh viewpoints isn't a sign of weakness. It's your single greatest weapon against bias. Alright, let's put your brain to a quick test. A bat and a ball cost $1.1 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Think about it for a second. If you're like most people, your brain probably screamed 10 cents. That's the fast, intuitive, but wrong answer. If the ball was 10 cents, the bat would be $1.1 and the total would be $1.2. The correct answer is 5 cents. The ball costs 5 cents and the bat costs $1.05 for a total of $1.1. What this little riddle shows is that our brain defaults to mental shortcuts that feel right but are often wrong. Cognitive biases are like mental autopilots, and flying on autopilot is incredibly dangerous in a storm. To navigate the BANI world, you need to take back manual control of your thinking. Break your biases before they break you. Stay flexible, stay curious, and stay ready for anything. If you caught yourself on the bat and ball riddle, do me a favor and hit that like button. Share this video with a friend who loves a good brain teaser. And don't forget to subscribe for more tools to help you thrive in our unpredictable world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.